But today we got a new topic, not talking about poaching with Joe. We're going to talk about cull bucks and what it is. What is a cull buck?
Yeah, what is a cull buck?
What is it?
What makes a cull buck, or what is your interpretation of a cull buck?
Well,
I mean, we were just sitting talking a little bit ago about and going over some trail cam pictures, right? Because I've been in places before on different ranches and hunted different areas where people are like, "Oh, well, that deer ain't got no brow tine, shoot it." Well, I got trail cam pictures of deer that are 130 inches with no brow tines that are 3 years old. So it's like, 4 years old, but it's like, well, hold on, I'm not going to shoot that deer just because he ain't got no brow tines.
4.5.
4.5. My bad. I apologize.
It depends upon what time of year, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole nother argument between the whole 3.5, 4.5.
Yeah. But, what defines a cull buck?
That's what I was going to say. What is a cull buck?
Why do you cull it a cull buck?
Yeah.
But I'll ask you guys some questions. You guys can leave us some comments here. What classifies a cull buck? Is it score, antler mass, height, spread? Are we talking injury? Are we taking injuries into consideration that might have an antler growth go a different way? Are the food resources in that area plentiful, and is that affecting? You got to take all these considerations. Are you supplementing feed? Are you just taking out smaller bucks to kind of help the bigger bucks go? That's kind of what we're talking about. Oh, man. What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Cast and Blast podcast. I'm your host, Poacher Ben. Joining me is my co-host, Mr. No Mullet.
No mullet. No mullet.
Jimmy Trent,
What's
a.k.a.
up?
Nasty Jim, a.k.a. Mr. Long White Socks. If you don't know, now you know.
The higher the sock, the downer the fool.
Ooh.
Well, we call him Mr. Long White Socks because when it's
You can't tell the difference.
when he's wearing shorts in the summer.
Oh, dude, you are the epitome of dad.
Look how tall my socks are.
Oh, my God.
You can't tell he's wearing. I'm like, where do they sell them long white socks, dude?
Call 911.
Yeah. Somebody get this guy a welding helmet.
God, now I know what it's like to get shined a spotlight
There
at.
you go. That's all we need.
Joining Nasty Jim at the table today is Joe Colyer, a.k.a. Mr.
Poacher Joe.
Poacher Joe.
You guys have seen him on a previous podcast, and we had a special episode series, you could say, Confessions of a Poacher. Mr. Joe was actually nice enough to share some experiences with you guys on a former life. And we got to learn a lot about Joe, and we got to learn a lot about our audience, did we not, guys?
We did. Speaking of that, we learned through our audience that he's not Poacher Joe anymore. He's now Famous Joe.
No. We ain't nothing famous. No. We did learn, though, that, I guess you could say there's a lot of love and a lot of hate all at the same time,
Yeah.
right? There's a lot more people out there cut from the same cloth. Now, mind you, I am reformed, but at the same time, there's a lot of people out there they hate you more for poaching than they will,
Hey, you said it earlier. You're like, if I was a recovering meth addict, they would have been giving me all the praise.
Oh, absolutely. I'd probably got a new truck, new house. They do all kinds of stuff like that.
They build you ramps and all that.
Yeah, for recovering addicts, right? But I quit poaching and turned my life around, and damn, I was told.
Yeah, you should have died.
Yeah.
Joe got death threats. He got freaking, all kinds of stuff. But with that, we actually got some comments from a lot of people who were like, listen, man, I get it. I grew up the same way. Where I'm from, it just wasn't as, I don't know, man. We'll leave the poaching behind us and get to talking. But, I mean, we just learned that there's a lot more people that have a lot more in common with a certain kind of lifestyle. And although we don't condone poaching and we don't condone hunting illegally or, harvesting without, having permission, a lot of us kind of grew up in an area where, it was just more common to get out there and drop a deer, get it in the in the freezer. Am I right, guys?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
It opened the door for a lot of people to say, like you said, it just kind of opened the door and opened the platform for people to say, man, I'm with you. Or, no.
Or you're horrible.
Or you're horrible.
Well,
yeah.
And you know what? It is what it is. It was a great episode, and we do appreciate all the comments.
Yeah.
You know, I got several messages from a lot of old friends, and even Frodo, the one that I talked about, from Old NCO. Yeah. He reached out. A bunch of people reached out and kind of reminisced about some of the old stories.
But the cool thing is today they're going to see a different side of Joe.
Absolutely,
So
absolutely.
They're going to see that Joe knows what he's talking about. He's not a poacher. He's a hunter.
And he's a good dude, man. And
Yeah.
so we had so much fun having Joe on that I grew my mullet out, and I said, hey, I got to be one of the cool guys. And on top of that, guys, we've become good friends. We've come to realize that we actually have, I served.
We got a lot in common.
I served beside Joe's, dad, his father-in-law, and I served, and Jimmy, we have fucking 4 years of desert sand under our boots together, and that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Come to find out that we're just kind of bonded through that, and then through our passion of hunting and fishing.
Absolutely.
Joe gets out there every chance he gets. Joe's been able to share some, insight to us, and now we've expanded our circle. We had so much fun having Joe on the podcast that we asked him to join the podcast, and here he is with us, not only as a guest, but part of the crew, man. So welcome to the Cast and Blast crew. We're proud to have you on.
I greatly appreciate it, and I'm extremely excited. It's gonna be awesome.
You know how for folks that watch the hunting public when Nick came on, you watch it, and when Nick came on as an intern, they're like, you can't let Nick go.
Yeah,
that's what it was. Like he has to be part of the team. And we got a lot of that for Joe, but today we got a new topic. Not talking about poaching with Joe. We're gonna talk about cool bucks and what it is. What is a cool buck?
Yeah,
what is a cool buck?
What is it?
What makes a cull buck, or what is your interpretation of a cull buck?
Well, I bet yours is different than mine, and his is different than yours,
absolutely.
and mine's different than his.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we were just sitting talking a little bit ago about and going over some trail cam pictures, right? Because I've been in places before on different ranches and hunted different areas where people are like, oh, well, that deer ain't got no brow tine, shoot it. Well, I got trail cam pictures of deer that are 130 inches with no brow tines that are 3 years old. So it's like, 4 years old, but it's like, well, hold on, I'm not going to shoot that deer just because he ain't got no brow tines.
4.5.
4.5. My bad. I apologize.
It depends upon what time of year, right?
Yeah.
There's a whole nother argument between the whole 3.5, 4, 4.5.
Yeah. But, what defines a cull buck?
That's what I was going to say. What is a cool buck?
Why do you cull it a cull buck?
Yeah.
So Google.
Cull it what you want.
Call it what you want.
Call it what you want. Let's see what Google says. Actually.
Well, while you're doing that, Jimmy's searching what Google actually classifies it as a cull buck. But I'll ask you guys some questions. You guys can leave us some comments here. What classifies a cull buck? Is it score, antler mass, height, spread? Are we talking injury? Are we taking injuries into consideration that might have an antler growth go a different way? Are the food resources in that area plentiful, and is that affecting you? You got to take all these considerations. Are you supplementing feed? Are you just taking out smaller bucks to kind of help the bigger bucks go? That's kind of what we're talking about. Let us know what you guys know about a cull buck, and why do we take those out? Jimmy, what is...
So for a lot of folks that haven't heard of a cull buck, it's C-U-L-L, not C-O-O-L. But Google says a cull buck is a management buck, because they're often referred to as the same thing. Cull buck, management buck. But what that is a male deer identified for removal from the herd, usually due to perceived inferior genetics or undesirable antler characteristics, which Ben just named off a number of different variables that could, change the antler growth, the antler characteristics as it would be normal.
I don't know why you're not taking me seriously.
I think it's between the mane and tail and Miracle Grow that was just dropped on your nugget.
What, do you guys not think this is real?
It's
Do you guys not believe this? I mean, you
it's
probably think it comes off with a hat, right?
it's as real as a cull buck theory.
Yeah, with a mullet like that, you will not be cold.
It don't, man. I got this thing.
That's a 160.
This right. Would this be considered a cull?
No,
Uh-uh.
your trophy.
This is trophy, baby.
That is 100% trophy.
I'm gonna keep it on for a little bit longer till you guys start. I think the subscriptions are starting to fall.
Yeah, they're
Now you see
dumping.
why Pinchy Ben's wife decided to pick him in earlier years.
Boy, I tell you what. So we're talking cold bucks, guys, and Jimmy was breaking it down before I kind of added a whole lot of unnecessary humor to the conversation. And we're definitely guilty of doing that. For you guys that are joining us for the first time, this is a fishing and hunting podcast. We talk anything fishing and hunting and in between. And as you can tell, we like to have a good time here. We don't take ourselves too serious.
Yeah, all that twisted steel and sex appeal over there in the corner.
Bro, it's a lot of it. That's a pile over
I need
there.
to start bottling this up and selling it, baby.
Is it warm in here or is it just a rut?
All right, let's get serious.
I started to go somewhere with that, but yeah, I'm gonna let that one go.
I'll reveal my real hairline. Huge.
Or lack thereof.
Huge. Yeah, my hairline got allergic to my eyebrows, and it started working its way back.
Your hairline called itself.
Oh, dude, that's classic. Cold.
You cooled your own hairline.
There you go. Well, guys, we're talking cold, man. What are we talking about here?
Man, we're
And
just talking about taking a person's opinion of a uncharacteristic of what they want deer out of the herd. So taking out a buck that does not meet their expectations.
So, but is it scientifically proven that you need to cull bucks, or is it specifically your thoughts on what you want your herd to look like?
Well, I think that's I think it's opinion based, and here I will give you my opinion on this. Cool bucks. So cool bucks, in my opinion, well, this part isn't my opinion, but the term cool buck did originate in Texas, and we talked about it. In Texas, what do we have? A shit ton of high fence hunting outfitters, operations, right? So on those high fence hunting operations, you got these big breeder bucks. You got basically what I'm going to get around to is they got a shit ton of money invested.
Oh yeah,
Genetically modified.
Genetically modified.
yeah.
I mean,
They fly in genetics from Ohio, Kentucky, Kansas. I mean, they when you look at some of these deer that come off that high fence, you can look at it and say those are definitely northern genes.
right.
Well, let's talk a little bit about that. Like, I mean, what are we doing on these high fence ranches that's different, when we talk about management?
Well, their management, I mean, it's high fence, right? So when we say high fence, these animals, they're in size varies of the ranch, but it can be anywhere from 100, we'll say 100 acres to thousands, tens of thousands of acres, hundreds of thousands in some places.
Sure.
So with that said, their management is top tier, quality over quantity, right?
But what do those fences do? I mean, are they keeping things in and out, or?
I think the fences for a lot of people, right? It's more for when you put that high fence up, say on 100 acres, right? You put that high fence up, a lot of guys will go in and they'll start killing off some of the native deer that don't have decent genes, cull bucks, whatever you want to call it, right? And then they'll fill it full of some of those trophy breeder bucks or what have you, right? The what they want to see on their ranch. That fence will not keep a deer in or out, right? I have watched deer jump a high fence, right? I think a lot of people have seen it, right? However, if you build a high fence ranch or you build a ranch and you provide them adequate food sources, adequate water, this and that and the third,
they have no reason
to leave. So you're more or less keeping the bad genes out more than you are just, I'm putting a high fence up to keep my deer in.
So which makes sense if you're running a high fence operation. Now, this cool buck, to me, once again, my opinion, has bled off of these high fence ranches, outfitters, into, the private sector. Whether you're hunting private land or public land, you still hear that all the time.
Even on low fence.
Low
absolutely.
fence.
Absolutely.
Well, you're going to hear it quite a few times in this podcast, and it's always a cool buck is nothing but an excuse in a lot of scenarios. You know, you shoot, you know, a dude goes out, a hunter goes out mid-season, and he shoots a 120. To me, a 120, that's a pretty good deer. But a lot of people here in Texas are going to be like, oh, it's just so cool, but it's a management buck.
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
a management buck.
You're going to hide behind that. Like, if that's the case, if
no, but so then that leads into, can a cull buck be a trophy, right?
My opinion, yeah.
You said 120 inches, right? If I take a kid from my football team out, right, who's 10 years old, who might not get the opportunity to go hunting but wants to learn, I take children out all the time. I've taken several kids out with my son, like his buddies, that want to see it because they come over and they're like, whoa, look at the heads on the wall, or, you know, they're eating deer burgers, they're excited. If a 120-inch deer comes out and that kid shoots it, or my son shoots it, or my younger son shoots it, that's a trophy to them.
So let me ask you this then. Is there a such thing, is there a real thing as a cool buck? Is it real, a management buck?
I mean, I think, to me personally, I think it only applies to high fence or breeder operations.
Yeah.
Because, now don't get me wrong, you can manage a low fence property to an extent, right? If you've got adequate resources on that property, and we'll say a big enough tract. I hunt 40 acres, right? So I have deer that live on the property. But then I've also hunted places like, okay, here's a little 15-acre tract, or even smaller, where deer are more or less using it as a pass-through.
Yeah, it's just
right.
part of their travel route.
They're just traveling through it. You might catch a stud in a rut, something like that. So on a bigger place, I think I know you can manage it to an extent. However, if I'm hunting 40 acres and this guy, and this guy's hunting, it doesn't matter what I call or try to call, because your definition and his definition and my definition of what's a trophy or a call is completely different.
Yeah, that's when you definitely have to, you got to work together with your, you know, adjoining landowners if you want to do that. Now, I will say, you know, Ben and I, down on the lease we have managing an MLD property, we did have a few cool bucks, even on free range low fence free range deer. And what they were is the first year, you know, not the best at aging deer on the hoof, but who is. But you take notice of, like, say you got a heavy framed 3.5, or we'll say 3-year deer, 4-year-old deer, and
Half.
Yeah, half. Depending on
Depending on what time of year, guys.
But in this county, it's an antler restriction with 13-inch or 14-inch, 13-inch.
Okay.
I don't remember.
13.
13-inch wide antler restriction. But we got mature deer, you know, big nines that don't even fall in the category of being legal to shoot because they're under 13 inches. But under MLD, we can shoot that. At that point, to me, that could be considered. If you got a 4-year-old deer that's not breaking outside the ears, but
absolutely,
he's a heavy frame, but he can still be a trophy. He is still a trophy. They can still carry weight, mass. They just don't have the width.
Absolutely, and now you're getting into that 13-inch rule again. So on the last episode, you guys had talked to Danny, Ray, and Jimbo, right? And they talked 13-inch rules. I've seen that deer that Danny was talking about, ET, right? And we've had several other bucks and seen pictures of bucks too that won't break 13 inches ever. But like we were talking the other day, and I think I sent you guys a picture of a deer that was like 160 inches, but never broke 13 inches.
Does that deer need to be taken out of the gene pool?
I mean, that's your decision.
There it is.
That's his decision.
What do you think, Ben?
So that was what I was going to get into, is like going back to like trophy hunters versus meat hunters, right? They're both chasing the same goals. Well, they're chasing different goals, but the thing is you both have to live with the fact, especially on low fence, you have to live with the fact that if I pass on this buck because I'm trying to...
I want to see him bigger next year.
I want to see him bigger.
Which there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. It's your tag. It's your It's your hunt. You do with it what you want.
And we're all I won't say guilty of it, but we're all hunters that
We're all guilty of passing deer.
that's what I'm saying. It's
I
like
think we're all guilty
pass,
of that. Yeah.
and that's some type of management, right? Whether it's cull, it's really just a decision. And I say this: if you're gonna pass on a buck because you think I want to see that one grow, or I'm not gonna shoot anything lower than this, or maybe I'm chasing something past my PB, and I say, hey, if I'm not getting past that, I'm not gonna pull the trigger or squeeze. Right? Here's the thing: I have to be able to live with the fact that just because I pass on that buck, someone else that hunts that same area, whether they're meat hunting or trophy hunting, may not pass that same buck.
Oh, absolutely. So
one man's trash is another man's treasure. Just because you pass it doesn't mean that next guy is.
yeah,
So that's the difference between low fence and high fence, in my opinion.
yes. So I had a picture of a stud 10 this year, right? 140, right? Good buck. And I've seen him in the daylight, seen him at dark. I had pictures of him all over the place, right? The rut started, and he was gone. Right? So I ended up shooting another real nice 10 that would probably a real good buck. To me, was a hell of a 10-pointer, right? Great deer, and I shot him. So, you know, for me, that was my decision, right? Uncle Ted said it the best, and I truthfully believe this wholeheartedly, and we'll preach it every day. It is your decision on what you shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Low fence, high fence, whatever fence.
We say it every time.
Right? Don't hide behind it's just a cull management buck. You chose to pull that trigger or shoot that arrow, whatever. That is your decision. Be proud of what you just shot. Now, I seen a video floating around a couple years back of a 38-inch axis, huge axis buck. Guy shot an arrow, and an axis doe walked in front of him as he was shooting it, right? Yeah. That, I might be like, oh, it's just a cull doe, right? But, you know, be happy with what you shoot. But so we'll go back to what is a cull buck, right? Or why do you cull? I can see it applying a lot more to game ranches, high fence ranches.
Yeah.
Then
they have money invested. Well, any hunter's got money invested and time invested and stuff, but that's a personal use. They're using it as a business, and there's not. Yeah. When we say money, like sometimes millions.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Just like we were talking about, you know, like Ben said, what if the neighbor shoots it, right? Or whatever. So it's one of those things we're all guilty of letting deer walk. I've let several deer walk this year. And then I ended up
yesterday.
And I ended up shooting that 10-pointer that I shot, and you know, I was so happy with it. I took a selfie with it, right?
Oh yeah.
So I was very happy, but I've let several deer walk because I know what they have the potential to be in the next 2 or 3 years, or even next year.
But letting them walk is not culling them, though.
Right, but it's the same thing. Okay,
it's a form of management.
Right.
But we're not cooling at that point.
Correct. Well, I showed you guys the picture of that real little guy, right? He's probably 3 years old, little basket rack, 5-pointer.
Yeah.
He probably won't end up being nothing big, right? So if I had the opportunity to cull that buck, I would probably shoot it because he's not going to be super big. But then, now let's get into the conversation of spikes. Are you going to cull every spike you see? Because scientifically, we've seen
a lot of people do.
Several spikes go from a spike to a 160-inch animal on these game ranches.
Yeah. Over and over again.
So then,
over and over.
By that theory, then we're ruling out age. Kinda, right? Because now you're talking about antler growth.
Well, it depends on who you ask.
Well, that's why I bring it up. So this is what I would say is, you know, you mentioned earlier, you know, scoring a buck on the hoof. Well, there are characteristics that will give up age, and you know, size. There's, you know, belly sag, back droop,
brisket, back droop,
all that stuff. So you're looking at those signs, and if I saw something like that had 3.5, 4.5 plus, right, which still got a lot of potential to do something in the next couple of years. And it's a spike. And maybe one is, I'm talking about this spike is just not looking like it's producing, and it's going to be looking like it's probably not going to get past that. In my opinion, if I could see that 2 years in a row, absolutely. That
2 years in a row.
That's me, that's going to be a cull buck.
Correct.
That's what I would. That was a topic I was going to hit. Is if you think it's a cull buck, wait till next year to make that decision. See what it's going to do, because like you were talking about in the beginning, Ben. I mean, you got injuries that happen when they're in velvet.
Yep.
You got stress levels that affects antler growth. You got their food and minerals.
Yeah, you could have a drought. You could be a heavy rain season. All
absolutely.
There's a ton of things. So before you just go out there smashing spikes and what you think are cull bucks, maybe wait till next year. Just try to see that deer again next year and see what happens.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. And then, so a lot of these high fence game ranches or, low fence hunts that are sold, right? You can go into several groups on Facebook and really look at, and again, a lot of this applies to just Texas, right? There's other ranches in other states that do the same thing.
Yeah.
But they're shooting just like a mainframe, run-of-the-mill 8-pointer or whatever. Let's be honest. What do most people that come onto these game ranches want? They want something that's 25 inches wide, or it's got 15-inch G2s.
And it's got to be chocolate brown, and it's got to,
Right. There's guys that have specifics. So some of these ranches, like we were saying, they will come through and just be like, oh, that's just a run-of-the-mill general 8-pointer. He's 120 inches. He's never going to be nothing crazy big, and they'll shoot him. It eats me up seeing some of those.
So for a high fence ranch like that, that part I understand, and I say I understand, but that's a business, and the end result is whether that deer was a massive, record-breaking deer, or he's at just mainframe 8, 120 inch, never going to get bigger. The end result's the same. He's going to get shot by a hunter.
Oh, absolutely. So, and then we were talking genetics too, right? So with genetics, the genetic doesn't just apply to the buck.
Yeah,
the doe has to have decent genetics too and carry through.
So I did some research, and somebody will correct me if I'm wrong, but I think there's something, it's like high, like 80 or 90% of genetics come from the mother, the doe side.
So, here's what I also add to this conversation we're having, and it gets deep, and it can go so wide too. When we're talking about these management properties, right, and these ranches that are selling management hunts, you also got to take in consideration like how long they've been managing that property. And I bring that up because let's just say, Jimmy, you and I, we ran into some money, and we bought
a big ranch,
150,000 acres. That's a big ranch.
Yeah.
And then Charlie Beatty comes along.
Yeah. Or Joe the Poacher.
I'm reformed.
But we got this, and it was never hunted before like that. I mean, there was people hunting on this property. Now we fence it in, and we're gonna start managing.
We're gonna high fence it or low fence it?
It's high fence.
Oh, it's high fence. Okay.
It's high fence. We're gonna start. We haven't. Where I'm getting at is depending on how long how deep you are in the management process, you might see some of that stuff early where we're like taking out those smaller bucks and we're trying to give those big, because we've done some observations and we've done the sits and we've seen the bigger bucks and say, hey man, based off of our count, right, we're gonna take out some of these smaller bucks and maybe even younger bucks.
Yeah, you're right. It's definitely a slow burn. You have to build that age structure within the herd. So a new herd, you're probably, depending on what you bought or if you got just a low fence. But, yeah, the age structure is definitely going to change based off the deer that you are taking. And that is a part of that's the management side. So when people say management buck, sometimes I understand that better than a cull buck.
Than a cull buck.
Yeah. So now let's take the management a little further. So now we've been doing it about 3 or 4 years on this property. And we probably haven't sold a lot of hunts. We're still building the management, right?
Yeah.
We're just kind of taking out and doing our diligence of trying to manage this property.
This sounds familiar, Ben.
Within this property, we start communicating on what bucks we're going to take out.
Yeah.
How many does, etc. Now we're in it a little deeper. Now we're in it. We're invested into, years of protein. We got, resources, food plots, all this stuff, water, all these resources that we've put into this. Now the game changes on how we manage that property.
Yes.
So I'm adding this context to give people that might not understand the whole, well, how do you cull? How do you know what to take? And how do you say 140 down, that's a cull buck and all that stuff? That's exactly how it gets. The science gets multiplied by the money that's invested in the herd management.
Yeah. And oddly enough, it often just comes down to some guy's opinion. That's what it comes down to, is some guy's opinion.
It really is. So especially on like game ranches, low fence, high fence, whatever. Can I sell this buck for what I've got, somewhat invested into this property, or what have you? Like I said, there are some bucks, even on the 40 acres that I hunt, that I would love to see, just be able to be like, okay, hey, we're going to go ahead and pop him because that's a 3-year-old deer, and he's still,
under the ears,
an itty bitty little fella.
Yeah.
Right. And I'd love to shoot him. But again, we live in an antler restriction county.
Yep.
We hunt in an antler restriction county, right? So, a question for you guys would be, how do you manage, or how do you cull some of the bucks in antler restriction counties?
That's the
that are not on MLD.
That are not out. Yeah. That are not on MLD.
Right. $1 million question.
How do you do it?
Well,
you're treading waters there.
Yeah. And that's the dilemma, is like, if you don't do it, then you live with the fact that those genetics are roaming on your property and they're breeding, and they're going to be passing those genetics down to other, drops of bucks and all that stuff. And that's just going to be kind of generation after generation. So, do you catch them as a spike? You know what I mean? See, it gets so deep, man.
I don't think there's a right time. Well, there is a right time to catch it. But like you said, how old did you say that deer is?
Oh, he's 3.
You already know he's
half.
3.5. If a deer hasn't broke 13 by 3.5, he's probably not going to.
Which is kind of typical in some of these areas of Texas. They grow real tall but narrow. And how many of you guys have seen on your game trail or trail cameras right now that you're looking at a good mature buck that's maybe 3.5, 4 plus? And that buck is tall, but well within a 13-inch spread. And what are you doing about it? You're just staring at that buck going,
there's nothing you can do.
Right.
And that conversation, I know for a fact, has been had within Texas Parks and Wildlife.
We've
100,000 times.
We've asked and got smiled. Like, what do? You just get smiled at.
Yeah. So what are the changes that can be made, or what is we as hunters, what can we do to maybe try to adjust some of that, right? Because
you got to think about,
you're going to sit there and watch that deer die of old age and keep breeding, and every year is going to breed, and you're going to have that gene pool for at least as long as you're on the property.
So why is that? We got to think of why is the antler restriction there, and then that is it's not the state. It's a part of the state management, right? That's what it is. State mandates it. It's part of their management.
Yeah,
by county.
Yeah, it's by county.
Well, yeah, it is.
Yeah,
by county.
there's a county.
There's some counties that are even split. Is what I was going to say.
Yeah, there's counties in our area that don't have antler restrictions.
Right.
We've talked about the Burnett County Buck Rule, Burnett County Buck Club in past episodes. So is that what people are doing? Or are they? I think there should be a way where I could be like, hey, I should be able to go talk to a game warden or a biologist in the area and say, hey, look,
way, though.
There is.
I have a 6-year-old buck that's in, or a 4-year-old. We'll say a 4-year-old, because you want to catch him early if you're going to call him, right?
Yeah,
so let's
before he
say you
breeds
watched
and
him at
breeds.
3. He never broke 13. He's at 4, never broke 13. He's 16 inches off his head, right? Straight up in the air. Can I get an MLD tag?
That's what I was
for that animal.
Well, you can't get just a tag. You'd have to put your property on the program.
But what
right?
What
but
can we
how
do
long?
about it?
How long does that take? How long does it take to get a property onto an MLD program?
It doesn't take long.
No.
No. I mean, you could do it like if. Well, we could talk about that later, but Yeah, that is the fix, but that's the state's way of management or cool. You know, you can't cool these. But what that does is, like you said, it just prolongs those genetics of what's going on.
And I get the 13-inch rule to an extent.
Well, what if I want a tall, narrow deer?
Absolutely.
Not everybody wants a wide deer.
No, absolutely. I get the 13-inch rule in to an extent, right? Because you don't want every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there shooting the first antlered animal that comes in front of them. Michigan's been dealing with that for years. They're just now starting to get in some counties, right? My brother lives, I call him my brother. He's one of my best friends of all time. He lives in an area where if he sees, you know, a basket rack or even just a nice buck, it's a big buck. I can show you pictures of bucks that they've sent me, and I'm like,
where does he live?
In Michigan.
In Michigan.
Yeah, and so central Michigan, right? We know Michigan's one of the biggest states for hunting.
Yeah.
Always has been, you know,
But that's what I was
some interesting laws too.
They do. But so for so long, it's been we're doing these big deer camps, these big deer drives, these big family hunts, right? Escanaba in the moonlight style, right? So you got these guys that has been doing this for so many years that now they don't have 130, 140-inch whitetail running around.
It's down.
Right. So I get the 13-inch rule, and I get the 8-point rule in certain areas.
How many people are flying to Michigan to hunt trophy deer every year?
A lot, because Ted Nugent has sunrise safaris up there.
Well, okay, but how many are flying to Texas to hunt?
Oh no,
deer
absolutely. But
there's pros and cons to
everything.
To it, but and that's
but
the point.
Do you guys have any recommendations that could possibly do you have any recommendations to Texas Parks and Wildlife off the top of your head? Let's get into that because I know I do.
I do.
What do you, Jimmy? What is your?
I got a couple. One of them is being an age requirement for 13 inches or less. If you're, 17, right? You got to get a hunting license. If you're 17 or younger, you can shoot under, 13-inch deer or bow season only.
I wouldn't go as far to say 17.
Well, I'm just a number.
Right,
I'm just throwing a number out there.
Because my son at 12, and I know several other kids. Josh York's son, right? About the same age as Colt.
Yep.
He's there. I know several kids that are the same way. They'll be like, nope, I'm going to let that deer walk. I want that deer. I think that deer can be bigger.
Well, they have that option, but
right.
not
every kid does, right? So like I've got the kids from my football team that if I took them out and I was like, hey, see that buck? A cull in my eyes, like the one I showed you guys earlier. Hey, shoot that deer. That's their first deer. They're going to lose their mind over it. So if we were to do it like age-based, say a child is able to do it during youth season or something like that.
We need a higher number of them taken out, man, in my opinion.
Absolutely. But I also think, like I said earlier, in absence of an MLD program, if I can give you proof that I've watched this deer for 2 years,
I'd agree.
He's never going to break 13 or, he's just got trash genetics, right? You should be able to call your local game warden or local biologist and say, hey, I have proof, 2 years, same buck, blah, blah, and they should be and get almost like an MLD tag.
There's a lot of ways that I think that they could do it. I mean, there could be a slot. They got X amount per county, and then once those slots get filled, they're filled. Do you have any ideas?
Or
Ben?
I think they should change the way they issue tags.
I was just about to say that.
So if we were to get, instead of 3 buck tags like in this county, right? 3 buck tags. What is it? 2. How many?
I think it's 4.
4.
You're allowed
not for this county.
Right.
So on the hunting license, it's 2 bucks, and then 3 does. I believe. I think it's 5 deer for the year. Hold on. Proof that I hunt legally.
That shit says 2019 on it.
Hey! Whoa! So that was a buck tag.
I thought you were going to save that for the soup at the end of the season.
I got one. All right. So on this right here, you've got white-tailed deer, buck or antlerless, white-tailed buck or antlerless, and then I believe this bottom corner one is just a buck tag. I can't remember because
I think it is.
It's missing. And then you've got 2 doe tags, right? So, but in most counties, see, look, that's my son's. His is missing too. So, but in most counties, you're allowed to kill. So it would be a buck over 13 inches, and then a buck unbranched. So maybe, like you said, the way they issue tags, instead of unbranched, it's a under 13, just like a slot limit for catfish.
Exactly.
Or a slot limit for fishing. On a lot of these lakes, you're allowed, up to 20 inches and then 1 over 30 or whatever the hell it is.
Yeah.
Let us know in the comments what you guys think of, like, what would be a kind of, not a fix, but what would help. You know what I mean? Because that's all we're trying to do is stay within the legal limits of these restrictions. But your county may be different than ours, and your restrictions are going to be different. But what do you think could generalize these restrictions to where we actually have something? And they bring up a good point. We got one oversized red tag and those things. What if we had one, under 13?
One undersized whitetail.
Yeah.
And you get to use that. Or what if you get to trade one in?
See? But if you trade one in now, are we going to have to go back to the old school days where there's legitimate check-in stations, right?
I wish there was still check-in stations. I loved it.
I loved it too. The camaraderie at those check-in stations was great. I used to, back home, a lot of the check-in stations are game processors.
You felt good showing up.
You could sit there all day and just watch bucks roll in, man, and it was some of the coolest stuff ever. But going back to the tag thing, give me my gator tag back. You can take that Operation Game Thief off. And give, but no, I fully agree with that. But the trade in, I don't know how that would, unless you trade the tag in prior to pulling a trigger, right?
No, but like, I guess where I'm getting at is like, you call the game warden, you talk to them, and you're like, "Hey, I'm watching this buck, and I want to take this undersized mature buck. I've seen it for 2 years. I want to, but I'm gonna harvest it just for the sake of taking the culling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What this whole podcast episode was about.
But then what happens if you do that, and then the neighbor does the same thing, and you haven't talked with him? He shoots that deer. Now you got to tag for an undersized buck.
Yeah, there's a ton of variables out there.
Yeah,
there's gotta be a way.
It gets complicated, but I definitely think that we as hunters,
there's ways we can sit down and
Texas
figure it
parks, we got to figure something out.
Yeah, I'm a firm believer in that. Is we definitely got to figure something out. But to circle back on it all, it's really, what do you want to see your herd look like?
Yeah,
and what do you want to see your herd look like? And are you willing to work with the people around you or within your game ranch or whatever to say, hey, this is what we want to see?
A cool
for the
buck
future.
or management buck is in the eyes of the beholder. It is exactly what you just said. It's what you want it to be. And if it's a 160-inch deer and you call it a cool buck and you had your eyes set on a 180 or bigger, you got a 160, you get behind the camera and say it's just an old cool buck.
So
you should be punched in the face.
So I showed you guys a picture earlier, and if there's a way you can put it up, you can put it up. We took a veteran out on a hunting trip, right? And it was a free. The veteran got drawn for it. He got to go shoot a deer.
Good.
And it was such an awesome hunt, but the cull buck he shot was 150 inches.
Yeah, that one you just showed. That's
that's trophy buck.
There's people in this world that would hunt their whole lives and never see a 150-inch deer, right?
I've never shot a 150-inch deer.
But then I showed you the other buck next to it, right? That deer, they've been managing that place for, I think he said he was there for 5 or 8 years, something like that. He had a full breeder facility, everything. I mean, he had everything from piebald deer.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right, to just absolute freak 215 to 20-inch animals, right? Had an amazing program going. The other deer that was shot that weekend, they had never seen before. And I asked him, I said, what do you mean? He says, Joe, I know just about every deer on this place. That deer is not on my ranch. So, high fence. He says, I've been watching this place for, we'll say 8 years. and I've never seen that deer before ever. And I've got cameras all over his place. That deer came in, but you saw that buck. It was almost 140-inch animal.
Yeah.
That deer was huge. He said, "Shoot that deer. I don't want him in my gene pool."
I have 2 deer sitting on my fireplace that are smaller, about this size or smaller, right? Not big deer. Not very big at all, but they are my 2.
Not big at all. That's a stud.
My 2 favorite deer. My 2 favorite deer.
So
Probably under 110,
Oh,
115.
yeah. My first buck ever, which everybody here would say, "Oh, it's a cull buck," right? I shot with my mother, right?
Yeah, it just comes to the experience, the hunt,
Yeah,
what it is,
yeah, absolutely.
what's happening.
I got
So-
one in my living room that has a story like that.
Yeah, exactly.
So everybody's ideas of culls, it 100% differentiates. So what if there was, say, Texas Parks and Wildlife was to say, you know what, this cull stuff and this conversation that Joe and Jimmy and
Yeah.
Ben had was the greatest thing they've ever heard because it was on the Cast and Blast podcast.
definitely
If they
watching.
hear it, they will. They'll listen. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, they're definitely watching. So, but let's say they said, you know what? Hey, let's take this into consideration. What if they started putting out limitations to this? This is what the state considers a cull because
That could be interesting.
Yeah.
because the
I
state
see.
has to,
Yeah.
they put their hands in everything else we hunt and fish.
That's true.
So what
Sure
if the
enough.
state put stipulations on that and said,
Well, they couldn't on high fence because that's considered livestock at that point. But yeah, free range deer, public land, private land.
And that's something we could possibly see real soon.
yeah,
I mean, and that would be a different conversation because now we have maybe you get a cull tag. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
a cool tag would be.
You know, that could.
Yeah.
that
or
could-
what if, let's say there's a large chunk of public land in the area that we live. Let's say the biologist on that large chunk of land is an upland game bird guy. That's what his degree is in.
Yeah.
That's very common in biologists,
Right.
especially in Texas.
So what, as the biologist helping Texas Parks and Wildlife make a decision as an upland game bird background or has a degree in upland game bird, right? What makes him say that's a cull when he doesn't, we'll say his full-on studies is not whitetail?
Yeah, to be fair, I'm sure he leans on his colleagues that are, we all do that. If we got a weak spot in our area, then we'll kind of lean on our colleagues that maybe have a little more experience there. And I hope he does that. But I will tell you, based off just what I've seen on this large piece of
He or
public
she,
land,
guys. We're not going to gender class these biologists.
these
they,
biologists,
them, or whatever.
and then just knowing what I know,
Is that biologist or biologista?
we'll go with but
biologist.
working with other biologists hand in hand in a very close manner for land management, and then seeing what we see on this public land out here and the numbers and areas and stuff that they
Goodness
get.
gracious.
I'm perplexed at why are we? There's so many things that
So many variables.
Well, there's so many things
Yeah.
that if I was king for a day, I would change. But
But,
but
absolutely.
and I'm sure everybody
Ask any
would.
hunter.
Yeah,
Ask
but I
any hunter
digress.
to-
But I
yeah.
digress.
We
So,
we
guys-
could go for days.
If we have this conversation and there's such a big subjective classification of what could be called a cull buck, what classifies a trophy buck?
The hunt.
The hunt, or again, your decision.
That's what
Yeah,
I'm.
that's-
That's what.
It is.
There you go.
I'm telling you, and I keep referring back to it because it's one of the greatest videos I think I've ever seen. Was Ted Nugent saying, it doesn't matter what anybody else has to say
Nobody.
about your deer. You chose to shoot that animal.
And it doesn't have to be a deer.
No.
It's whatever harvest animal it is.
Dude,
Fish, whatever.
Dude, it doesn't matter if I shoot a spike, a doe, or a 160-inch animal. I am excited
Yeah.
because I'm putting meat on the table, and I just shot a deer. I had the opportunity. God gave me the opportunity to wake up and get in the woods. Whether I see something or not, it doesn't matter to me. I'm still alive and kicking. But your trophy compared to your call is your decision, and the classification is what you think. And don't let, if I shoot a damn goofy buck, we'll say I shoot the Puro Pinche buck that's on the hats, right? Right? I shoot that buck, and that's a trophy to me. What gives you the right to say, nah, that's tiny, you should have gave him 2 more years?
That's the society we live in now.
It absolutely is. And I think with that being the way it is, I think it hinders a lot of new hunters.
Well, that's where you get a lot of that you see on social media. You get that word cool buck at the end of, I got one today, but it's not that big. It's just a cool buck. And I'm so tired. And I don't think I'm the only one.
And I'm guilty of it. That 10-pointer I shot this year, right? That's the first good, we'll say good mainframe buck, right, that I've shot in years. Mind you, I have 2 sons that want to hunt every single day. So I give them the opportunity to hunt more than I do. They are in the shooter seat 9 out of 10 times, right? So it wasn't the biggest buck in the world. But to me, when he walked out, it tickled my pickle. Man. Therefore, I pulled the trigger on him, and it meant the world to me.
That's all that matters.
It tickled my pickle. Listen, I'm just being honest. If that deer walks out and you get the shakes, right? You pull the old Luke Bryan.
Yeah.
Is he down? Is he down? Right? If you pull the Luke Bryan and you're shaking like a cat shitting peach seeds, then by God, pull the trigger and be happy with what you've got. And don't let nobody ever try to tell you, oh, no, I wouldn't have shot that. Man, kick rocks.
Dude, that one deer I was telling you about, I was on a hunt in Kansas right before I moved back to Texas. Is probably my last deer hunt, so it was kind of like all in or nothing.
Right.
Smaller buck comes in, couple does come in, and he starts trying to push them, then he starts trying to breed, and they're running all around me. Like, they're literally all around me. I'm on the ground in a cedar tree. I end up shooting this buck. I drop him, right? Well, I ended up spawning him, so we drop. So I pump another arrow into him. He's laying on the ground just bellowing out. Yeah, gurgling. And then this doe comes over there to see him. I got 1 arrow left, dude. I only had 3 with me. I got 1 arrow left, so I sink one in her. I go Winchester. I just shot a buck and a doe, and I'm like texting my buddies. I'm like, I need arrows, guys. I'm Winchester, and I got deer everywhere.
Best feeling ever.
Yeah, that shit was cool, man. So that's why, like, it was just a real cool hunting experience, and that's why a smaller deer is probably my favorite deer that I have.
But you know what? That deer made your whole, like, that is one of the best hunts you've ever had.
Yeah,
right?
It was great.
Hands to God. So then that's it. And you should never, ever let anybody online, offline. If I walked into your house and was like, why the fuck would you shoot that? I would fully expect you to kick me in the nuts.
That's what I'm saying. That's what,
right?
Instead of asking people that, you say, what's the story behind that deer? Because there's probably a story behind it.
Oh, absolutely. You just mentioned I need more arrows. I got a story for that for another podcast, right?
Yeah, we're starting to run long on this one already.
But, we circle back on it all. What is a cull buck? It's what you decide.
It's what you
decide. It is what you and your partners or whoever's on the property with you, your sons.
I think we could all 3 agree on that.
Absolutely. Could there be changes within the laws or the regulations to help with culling a herd and help with management? Yes. I think we're all in agreement on that.
And that's where, the state always says, hey, we need your help. This is where we're offering help. Like, we're offering, we need you to help us now.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. And I am fully in agreement to that. There's a lot that we could talk about when it comes to laws and stuff like that I think could be changed.
But it's all opinionated. That's just our opinion. But I think there's going to be a lot of people that would probably agree with a lot of some of the stuff that needs to change.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what people say.
Yeah,
I really
definitely.
I really like your. I think Ben, when you said maybe the state can put stipulations on what a cool buck is.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say that, man, because that's just asking
more
for
regulations.
It's more fingers in the pot.
I'm gonna nix that. I never said that.
I'll be honest with you though. I am so excited to see the comment section on this.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't just apply to Texas. So please don't think this is just a Texas-based thing. If you're from Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, it doesn't matter. We reach everywhere, and we know we do. Tell us what you think. What are your thoughts on it? You know, do you think that a cull buck or an undersized buck should be a kid thing? Should it be a first hunter thing? Should it be a
Anybody thing?
an anybody thing? You know,
Bow hunter thing?
yeah. What is your thoughts on what a cull is, and why do you cull, and how do you manage your property? We want to hear every bit of it, because it doesn't. Your comment and your
well, everybody's
philosophy-
scenario is going to be different,
right,
too.
and your philosophy might be the one that changes your thoughts, or his thoughts, or my thoughts.
That's all it takes is that one.
Absolutely. Everybody has an idea. So if you get a culmination of all of them.
And there's so many things in the background that we don't know about why those things are there. So if somebody, enlighten us. We may not know, ignorant to it.
Absolutely.
I mean, bottom line, shoot what you want and be proud of it. Mm-hmm. And if you're not, call it a cull buck.
Yeah.
You know?
That seems to be the trick.
Just managing the property today.
That's it.
Just knock down another management.
I mean, how many times you see it on social media is like cull buck. So I mean, you could get away with it, guys. So
beat them, join them, right?
How many management bucks did you shoot this year?
Yeah. I'm doing my part.
Yeah.
They're all cool bucks.
Yeah. And while you're at it, I want my gator tag back.
Well, guys, I hope you guys got something out of that. We wanted to talk something, and we wanted to wrap up this season. We're going to be taking a couple of weeks off here towards the holidays for us to go out there and spend some time with our family. We got some hunting season to wrap up ourselves, so we're going to be getting out there. And also, with that said, we're really excited about next season because we're already planning our schedule, special guests. If there's somebody you want to see on the podcast, let us know in the comments. Send us an email. We have an email it's info@castandblastpodcast.com. And guys, if you want to support the podcast, you guys can go to our website and we'll put it in the description. There's going to be a link where you guys can purchase a hat, a shirt, some stickers, decals, whatever, and you want to
air guitar.
The air guitar is sold out. Sorry guys, the air guitar, but we'll get it back in stock. But if you go to our website, you can see what it looks like. And if you're interested, you can, pre-order it and support the podcast. You guys get your own air guitar. Send us a video of you guys playing the air guitar. I think you guys will really like it.
Yeah, and definitely make sure you hit that subscribe button, right? Subscribe to the YouTube. You can find us on Instagram, on Facebook, on TikTok. Just a quick follow, a quick subscribe.
It's free.
It doesn't hurt. It's free. We're coming back. I mean, got some real good stuff planned. It's going to be a great
Pull that plaque out
season.
from behind the scenes there, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, I don't know if you know how big of a deal it is to make a milestone with YouTube, but we
it's heavy.
started off this season. We can go ahead, and this is a perfect time to go ahead and make this announcement. We started off this season.
Can you read it?
I can read it. It says, presented to the Cast and Blast podcast for meeting 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. Let's see if I get it.
Meow, meow, meow.
Hey, we hit it, guys. Woo. So, guys, we want to thank you for subscribing to a channel. And, guys, we hit a milestone this season. I say this season because we go kind of calendar year. Start of January, we'll be picking up again. But we started off trying to reach our goal of hitting 1,000 subscribers this season. Guys, we're proud to announce that with your help, we hit and surpassed 2,000 subscribers.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So, guys, we are super glad to have you part of this podcast because you are very much part of the conversation. You're the driving force behind this. We wouldn't be doing it if it wasn't for you guys. So we invite you to tell your friends about it. We've organically grown through telling us or asking you guys to tell people that that like fishing and hunting, have them come on the podcast and talk, join the conversation in the comments, send us an email, let us know what you guys want to see next season.
Or if you want to be on the podcast.
If you want to be on the podcast, again, just email us. Let us know in the comments. Either way,
We do read the comments, like every single one on just about every platform. Well, on every platform, we do read the comments. We know exactly what you say, whether it's nice, rude, naughty. Some of you guys are getting cold for Christmas, right?
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
Some of you like, oh boy. I ain't gonna drop names, but I'm going to Alex Shaw. If you ever bro, they ate you up. I felt sorry for him.
That's the one that can't kill a deer with a 22?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, great. Listen, I'm living proof that what you said is a lie. No, we do read them, so we're interested in everything. I mean, we want to see what you guys want to see more of too. We've got some real cool things planned for the year. It's gonna be awesome.
Fishing season's coming up. Turkey season's coming up. We're still in deer season. We got the split for the dove and duck. Dude, there's a lot happening right now.
Well, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I hope you enjoyed this season. We're wrapping it up, guys. Listen, if you want to follow through and watch some of our previous podcasts, we invite you to do that during our holiday break. Go and check them out. There's some cool podcasts out there on our channel that you can guys go brush up on. Any recommendations, guys? I think Joe's got one.
Yeah.
Confessions of a Poacher Part 1.
There you go.
That's a pretty good one. The Charlie and Pat podcast was awesome. The last podcast with Jimbo and Danny, very informative.
Very informative.
Talking taxidermy with Randy Fleeman, or even the Dove podcast with the Gay Mormons. That was a real good one too. I mean, there's a lot of them.
The dead body one too. If you haven't seen that one, check. That's an oldie, man. That's an oldie, but a goodie.
Classic.
It's a classic.
So, guys, I don't know. It seems like every season we kind of do a little upgrade to the podcast studio. You guys think there's something we should do different? See, maybe let us know in the comments if you guys want to see something different. I'll tell you what we won't be doing. You ain't going to see that lighted sign in the background and all that stuff. I don't think that's kind of our style.
A little more rough around the edges.
Yeah.
I think you've already downgraded by putting my fat ass on this side of the table.
But you got the mullet, man. So,
Hey,
it balances.
It balances.
The only
right?
real mullet on the podcast.
Yeah. I think your mane and tail fell out. No, it's definitely awesome, and I appreciate you guys bringing me on. I'm super excited for great conversations. Right.
Yeah.
And great stories and a lot of just fun ahead.
We got some fun to be had.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
is it official? I mean, I'm Pinche Ben. That's Nasty Jim. I mean, what Joe's got to have a nickname.
I mean, I think it's already been dubbed Poacher Joe, right?
Poacher Joe. The hat says it all. Man.
I think it's kind of there, and
Hey, if it is.
Hey, it is
Kind of like
what
being
it is.
kind of like having a cool buck. Own it, right?
Yeah, well, I can't be the prince of poachers, so I'll just be Poacher Joe.
Yeah, I like it.
Super excited. It's been a lot of fun, and it's going to be great this upcoming year.
All right, guys. Well, that's a wrap, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed this podcast. We'll catch you on the next one. Peace.